Keegan, welcome back to my channel. So today's video we are going to be talking about study life hacks and how to get good grades. If you guys haven't seen already, about 2 years ago I did a video talking about study life hacks, and I still to this day, 2 years later, get comments being like, I had a D in a class and now I have an A thanks to this video, which makes me so happy. If you guys don't know, I'm a straight A student. I take my grades very seriously and they're very important to me. I have a ton of tips and tricks on how to get good grades and how to study and how to do your homework and how to take good notes, and I love sharing those tips with you guys because you get good grades. Yeah. I am teaming up with eNotes to bring you guys this video. I'm not trying to hide that at all. This video is sponsored by eNotes, so thank you so much. Since I already did a study life hacks video, I wanted to do something different and put a little twist on this video so I can give you guys different tips and tricks. The way I study for social studies is a lot different than the way I'll study for a math test or a reading comprehension quiz. I wanted to share with you guys different ways I study for different tests and quizzes. Not all of these are tests, but some of these are like essays or things that are worth a lot of points to have a big impact on your grade. Without further ado, let's get started. The first study method is for multiple choice or fill in the blank quizzes. A lot of this could be like social studies or science, basically fact-based things that you need to memorize, and it's not something that you need to apply or put a lot of effort into. It's just memorizing facts, and the way that I memorize facts is using flashcards. In my study life hacks video, I did mention alternative ways if you're not a visual learner, so go check that video out if you want to see some other ways, because that video is mainly just focused on like fact memorization. Really good tips in that video, just letting you know, throwing that out there. I'm like shoving this video in your face, but like whatever. I like to use flashcards, like I said, so they can either be paper flashcards or apps. There's a lot of apps for flashcards which are really helpful, so if you want to download one of those and not buy a bunch of flashcards, you can do that too. I personally like using apps because I hate writing things down. There's actually a study saying that writing things down helps your brain memorize things more than typing it, so if you want every ounce of like memorization in you, I recommend writing it down. Typing also works. Another thing to do for these fact memorization is to review your notes. I really like to go over my notes before the test, right before I study, just look at everything, and if you're a really visual person like I am, you can visualize the notes on the test. That's how I do it. Next one is essay exams, and I was thinking more of this towards like writing exams for foreign languages. If you're doing like an essay exam that's not for foreign language and you kind of have to like write an actual essay on the spot, I recommend pre-finding quotes and writing them down. A lot of the times you can have a piece of paper to plan things out. On that piece of paper, I'd recommend writing quotes and basically doing a general outline of your essay that you plan on writing. You can even do like a bubble or a map or whatever you want to do. Just have your quotes and your ideas and your thesis. That's the best way for a writing class essay. Basically, for a foreign language writing exam, I just write the essay over and over and over, and if I forget a part, I will highlight it, so when I look over it, I can remember that, and I just keep writing it until I remember it. It's a little bit time consuming, but it's the best way to remember your essay. I wouldn't recommend this for like an English writing class because that will take way too long. Next up is reading comprehension, and reading comprehension is the thing that I struggle the most with. I am a pretty good student in writing and in math, but reading comprehension has always been something I've really struggled in. And by reading comprehension, if you're kind of confused, basically like when you read a book in a class and it's asking you for a summary or for a thesis or for like an analyzation or for a theme, things like that, I'm not very good at picking up like the subtle hints that books give out. So what I like to do for this is to find something online. So for instance, eNotes, since eNotes is sponsoring this video, thank you once again. eNotes is a really great way for reading comprehension quizzes. I'm just gonna pull it out so I can explain it to you. So eNotes is a subscription-based app, and there's a ton of books on it. I'm not kidding. Every single book I've read in high school is on eNotes, which has been super amazing. There's over 30,000 book summaries. So a lot of the times, things that you need to study for in reading comprehension quizzes are summaries. So I recommend going on eNotes and finding summaries of the book that you need, or themes and characters. There's a ton of information. There's even practice quizzes, which really help in my personal opinion. Just reading up about the book, finding out what the themes are and who the characters are and what the little interesting like little details that you kind of missed. Using an app like eNotes really helps me realize every single thing that I missed. I was actually looking at eNotes the other day, and I was looking at a book, Fahrenheit 451, and I read that sophomore year, and I remember looking at all this stuff on there, and I was like, oh my gosh, I remember taking a test and all this information, and I remember getting it wrong because I'm just too like clueless, and all like the themes went over my head, and I was like, I didn't realize they were talking about this. I thought it was just a normal book. Also, side note, you want to make sure all your information is correct. No matter what you're studying for, you want to make sure you have correct information. All the stuff on eNotes is 100% accurate and fact checked because it was written by teachers. There's also homework help questions, so if you are confused, you can ask a question and they can answer it. And I have a little surprise for you guys, so if you click the link down below, you can get a free trial and then 50% off your subscription after that to eNotes. Thank you so much to eNotes for giving you guys this awesome discount because this is something I really wish I had. I'm not kidding, I am so bad at reading comprehension. I recommend reading up on the book and learning all these little things that you didn't miss so you're prepared for the test. My next one is speaking exams, so this one can relate to a foreign language as well. When I was in Spanish, we had to do a ton of speaking exams, and I prepared so well for this. First thing I'd recommend doing is record yourself. So when you're speaking a foreign language, you kind of don't realize when you're talking that you're butchering a word, but when you record yourself and listen to it back, you're like, oh wow, I sound not like fluent in this. Another thing is to look at translators. I recommend typing in the the word and then hit speak, and then it'll pronounce it for you so you can understand how words are sounded out. So if you're like, I don't know how to pronounce this word, it tells you. Next up is speeches. So if you guys know anything about me, my biggest fear is public speaking. I think dying is less scary than public speaking. I'd rather have a shark eat me than talk in front of my class. It is my biggest fear without a doubt. It's to the point where it's like, it's not even a practical fear, but I am so terrified of it. So here are my tips on how I feel more comfortable and confident talking in front of a large group of people and end up getting a better grade. So a lot of the times you can have note cards when you're speaking in front of public. So what I'd recommend doing is doing your note cards, writing things on it, not like word for word your speech, but big general ideas that you don't want to miss, and color code them in each section where you need to change topics. So for example, for me, in my Comp 101 class, I did a project about the Clean Power Plan. On my note card, I would have one color for introducing what the Clean Power Plan is, and then another color for explaining how it works, and then another color for what can happen if we don't implement the Clean Power Plan. So each color kind of tells me when I need to change topics. That helps you carry on the speech and not have these awkward breaks, panics, like, oh my god, I forgot what to say. Practice in a mirror and practice in front of people. I practice in front of my family and friends a lot. The more people you practice in front of and the more times you practice, the more comfortable you're going to be. Practicing by yourself is awesome, don't get me wrong, it helps you memorize the facts, but practicing in front of small groups of people kind of gives you a little insight on what it's going to be like practicing in front of large groups. If you stumble on words, it can kind of show you where you need to practice more, and it will just build your confidence about the speech. A lot of the times for speeches you have PowerPoints or slideshows. I'd recommend practicing with the slideshow and without, just in case there's like a technical difficulty issue and you can't have the PowerPoint. If you're reliant on this slideshow and you don't have it, that's going to stress you out so much and you might fail it. Make sure you know your information enough that you don't need a visual to help you guide along your presentation. And if it's a timed speech, I recommend timing yourself when you practice and subtract anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute. When you're talking in front of people, you naturally talk faster. If you're like me, you forget to breathe. I literally did a presentation and I forgot to breathe during my presentation and I felt so lightheaded by the end, I almost fainted. True story, it was probably one of the worst experiences of my life. Don't forget to breathe. And above all else, just practice, 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 practice until you have it memorized, and you don't need note cards, you don't need a presentation, you don't need anything, you just know the information like the back of your hand. As for essays, I know this isn't like a test, like it's not like a timed essay thing, but essays take up a really big portion of your writing class grade. First thing is when you're done with your essay, read it out loud. Your brain generally sees what you mean to write instead of what you actually write. So if you read it out loud, you're like, oh wait, I switched some words around, I spelled something different, this is the wrong form of grammar. You can also have your phone or computer read it out loud. Siri does not know how to mispronounce misspelled words, so she definitely can help with that. I actually made a setting in my phone where my Siri talks so fast that I can't understand her. So if anyone knows how to fix that, please let me know because I can't figure it out. Another thing is to copy and paste your essay into a grammar checking website. This can help you with misspelled words or grammar placement, or if you need a comma somewhere, if you use passive voice, things like that that you don't realize, it will check for you and tell you to correct. Another thing is to peer review. This is huge. Peer reviewing is basically having someone check your paper for you, whether it's your mom, your friend, your dad, your teacher. I totally recommend having someone peer review. It could literally be something as simple as they think that you should take a sentence out. This doesn't make sense, explain it more. Or giving you new ideas. Rearranging your paragraphs. Having other people's input really helps. The last way to study is for math, and I know a lot of people don't know how to study for math, and that kind of confuses me a little bit because I've always been the type of person to study for math. So how I like to do it is I like to go over my notes, and in my notes I like to have step-by-step ways of solving problems that we did in class. Seeing step-by-step how you did each problem and the steps that maybe you stumble on sometimes or maybe you forget to do. Practice problems are also a really great thing. You can Google like quadratic function equations. Sometimes your teacher gives you a study guide. You know, doing practice problems and looking over your notes, doing step-by-step work to get to the answer is really great. So those are all the ways that I study for exams and quizzes and tests. If you guys have any tips, leave them down below. Thank you again to eNotes for sponsoring this video. It means so much to me. Don't forget to check out the link down below for a free trial and then 50% off your subscription after that. I love you guys so much and I will see you in my next video. Bye!